Alright, let's get into the final segment. I'm gonna get eaten here one more time, I think. So again, I kind of return to this thought of where do these Tenno powers really stand within the game? Are they just here for the mission? And I have to say, if that's the case, and I doubt it, then no. They shouldn't be here just for the mission, but how do they translate into our gameplay moving forward? Do we have to really switch off the things that we have become most comfortable with, the namesake of the game, Warframes, to fight some of the biggest, baddest enemies in the game? A bit reticent at that thought. Not that I'm not willing to face challenges in this game. I'm not a person who is against the nullifiers. I like the nullifiers. I like the challenge they present. Put your balls on, slide in that bubble, and chop them in half. Like, that's all I have to say on that. Let's move forward from that point. So here comes a bit of a section that seems to be giving some players trouble. The section where you have to use transference on one of these Orokin worms. I think that is... it was difficult because basically there is this antenna portion that players have to identify, and it even took me a bit to identify, maybe even got a bit lucky identifying it where we had to use transference on the worm. Potentially there could be a glow added there on the worm to aid players. Not much more to say on choice until probably the end of the War Within, which is kind of a misnomer in my mind, and again, I'll get to that more towards the end of the video. Again, with the Twin Queens, I'm surprised. It truly, I think no matter what choice you kind of make, this actually felt like more of a conclusive point with the Grineer faction. Possibly even leading us towards where the Corpus will start to become more of a threat within the Origin system. Or maybe it will be the Sentients before them. I think both are cool options. Again, surprising, but not a bad surprise. So you can actually see the blue glow there where you're supposed to connect with the antenna, and then I think the worm comes back to eat me. So let's go ahead and skip ahead here so we can show where we figure out how to use transference on the worm, and that way we're not wasting too much time within the video. So, yeah, I'm surprised at that because I thought that basically this would be where things really start to get ugly with the Grineer, but I think that this might actually be where things start to calm down with the Grineer faction, where we might see the Corpus come into play, possibly through storytelling, through events, through event mods, seeing the Corpus shields becoming more powerful. Possibly, what if they're shields that cover health, and then you have to do damage to the shield to be able to attack the health. Interesting concept. I think that there's something here that I'll want to talk about in just a moment. I think that the opportunity to advance shields and issues around shields through storytelling is better than just, hey, this thing is kind of odd and maybe could use a look at. Rush to it. I hate that idea. I hate the idea of telling the developers to rush to getting shielding fixed, armor balanced, what have you. The Grineer are the big bad in the Origin system. I personally think that it makes sense falling off this cliff. I think it makes sense that they are strong and that the elements about them are strong. And so, yeah, that's really all that comes down to. That's my opinion on that subject, and I would prefer to see elements of the game that need work building through the story, building through events, building through gameplay. Here we see health, which I think is kind of where I come back to one of the head scratchers, where it's just like, Are the Tenno modifiable? Period, the end. Will there be a way to scale them? Will it be the Riven mods? Where do the Riven mods go? I gotta find that out today. I hear some of them might be a bit broken. These things are to be expected, guys. You're the ones who, you know, I'm not one. I'm a console player. I'm not one of the people who's just like, I can't believe the update isn't out yet. What's wrong with them? There's nothing wrong with them. They're developers. Design and game development takes a long time, and I would really, I'm really happy with what we got here, and I think that it's, in my mind, pretty darn glitch-free, pretty darn playable. I enjoyed it. What else do I have to say moving forward from here? I was a bit surprised with the direction about Teshin. I have mentioned that, but I thought that just this quest felt a lot more unifying with Teshin, and I think that having the Tenno as their own faction, even if led by Space Mom, having this other NPC who can call upon us to give us direction within quests would be very cool, as opposed to just Space Mom. Having Teshin being there. I loved Nata, how Teshin stepped up and was just like, let's do this shit! I thought that was very cool. So let's go ahead and skip to the gameplay where we start to find the elements of the Tenno battling with the Warframe, but not alongside the Warframe, not a concept of 2-in-1. I do think this is kind of where that concept of 2-in-1 is starting to hurt a bit, and of course with Focus, there is an opportunity to bring that around. But I do think we need to see that. We need to see why these two kind of entities do need each other to function together. Because we're kind of seeing the Tenno here functioning on their own. And maybe that's in the next quest. Steve or Scott or both at TennoCon, I believe it was, said that basically the second dream was the first part of a 3-part series, and Umbra will likely be the conclusion. I might be misquoting that. Go check their VODs on YouTube to find out. So, again, here we see the Tenno using their abilities. I'm eager to jump into the game and see what is up with that dog. That was terrible. To see what is up with that. Does this literally kind of invalidate Matter-Eye? Handbeam, does it invalidate Matter-Eye? What becomes of Matter-Eye? What's, just a lot of what's here. A lot of what's and a lot of question marks in my mind. And I mentioned in my commentary that failed, some glitch happened, that I'm very eager to find out or to see the other elements that came with the War Within. With the second dream, it was mostly about the quest for me. Having played the War Within, I think I'm a lot more interested in the weapons, in the Riven mods, and the other elements that came with the game, reading the patch notes, finding out what all is there, and just seeing a lot of what happens moving forward. Ortis says here, you can help me clean up that infested door, and I really thought that they had, kind of faked us out and said that the infested door won't be answered until December for PC, and I was just like, man, like, I thought I was gonna open it here. It's too, ahead of this, Ortis makes that comment. So here again we see the villainizing of Orokin technology. And of course, it's in the hands of a true villain, one of the Grineer Queens. But still, I think that's cool in storytelling, cool to see Teshin, this character that we've known for so long, really kind of almost controlled and enslaved, and these terrible concepts placed upon our friend. And I just like a lot of this conclusion. I like where Teshin ended up within the story. I've said that, so let's go ahead and look at the gameplay we've been waiting on. So, yeah, they are called Kuva Guardians. I had mentioned that before. And what I eventually find out is that I need to use my Tenno power to attack the Guardians, and I think this is where I switched to mouse and keyboard, which was a bit of a pain, so you might see me moving kind of bit meh-like. I don't want to have to entirely rely on a mechanic that just might not be ready for the rest of the game. And I'm saying that way ahead of experimenting and playing and seeing what the War Within brought. But Focus wasn't a system that was entirely ready, I think, for Warframe. I think that there were great things that came out of Focus, and the passives in particular really helped us push our gameplay forward, push our mission forward. And I just want to know right now, I just want to end this fucking recording and go find out if the Tenno fighting on the battlefield through our control is ready for Warframe. If that is even the case, if we're using the Tenno on the battlefield. Hot damn. So, yeah, some fighting of the Kuva Guardians here. I want to talk about a fight that is coming up with Teshin, so we're going to do some skipping ahead. I died. Fantastic. And so here, where is he? Where's Teshin? I think this is, yep. So here I have to fight Teshin, and again, much like earlier in the game, I found myself saying, I don't want to fight you, Teshin. And I think that's a good thing. I think the game makes you not want to kill your friend. Maybe some people want to beat him up, but I think a good number of Warframe players probably will not want to kill Teshin. And I think that is cool. And even right here, he is saying, finish me. And I was just like, I'm gonna wait and see if there's another option, because sincerely, I didn't want that to happen. And that's cool that the game makes you feel that way. And so here, again, you know, just kind of some wonky controls that I'm just not used to. So, yeah, you know, that's all that really comes down to. Let's get to the death blow sequence. So here you have another choice. For me, I don't even think I will change my mind on console. I think this will be one of those things that might affect current state gameplay, you know, possibly going to the Fortress tile set and seeing what your friends chose, who has the Grineer Queen still alive, what that means for the story going forward. Choice is pretty cool, but again, I think there is a big catch-20 to it, or I don't know what the actual phrase is. I'm still really tired. Catch-22 to it. I think there is a really big catch-22 to it at times, but I'm pretty happy with my choice. I'm pretty happy with most of the choices I made, landing in a neutral territory. I think that's also important, having neutral choices, as opposed to, well, you make a good or you make a bad choice and that's all there really is. That's not how life works. There are a lot of neutral choices. And yeah, so I'm pumped to see what comes of that. And yeah, so let's just go ahead and get to the conclusive points. You're going to evac from the fortress. There's the evac, and you can watch it in the no commentary play if you're interested in seeing the play itself, guys. And again, I'm not. I'm watching this because I'm not the kind of person who is just like, oh, very reactionary in play. I'm just kind of like, oh. And then I express myself through kind of careful thought and consideration like this, which is why I'm not just like, oh my god, oh.
A mother wants to shield her child.
Anyway, so yeah, you kind of here again. Geez, that actually kind of hurt. Here again, we kind of come back to the Lotus. Man, like I actually. So this is one of the points I sat on, and now I'm kind of like thrilled about. Where at first I was just like, damn, Space Mom wasn't involved in this at all. And here is actually where I also thought I might open the infested door, and sadly it didn't happen. And I just really think it's cool. I would love to see even more NPCs included in the game who kind of guide us on quests. We've started to see that with even the syndicates. What if there was a Tenno NPC? That'd be pretty cool. I really think having a Tenno NPC would just be pretty cool to see within the gameplay to guide us on quests. Concluding points. This, again, I come back to that thought of, like, the second dream was these kind of, like, oh shit moments, where instead I feel like this was more of a building up of elements within the game. This wasn't a conclusive or powerful I mean, there were powerful moments, but more of them were about, oh shit, what's going to happen from here? The War Within, I think, was more about what is to come than actually this story mission itself. The War Within, Warframe is going to be, moving forward, in my mind, the War Within. And we will get to that as soon as I reach the mountaintop. But I again want to look at the Ayatan sculpture, the Ayatan mechanism that we come to. I think it's, again, pretty cool that it is a mechanism for getting further within the story. And I like that. I like that Ayatan aren't just these decorations we put on our ship or get Endo for. In fact, I want to turn that thing in for Endo. I gotta get back to that mountaintop. So, yeah, loved the story building for Teshin. Not as momentous as the story building for the Lotus, the story building for What We Are, the Operator, but I don't think those things could be, and I think they picked the right character to deliver a message, to be a larger part of the story. I liked Teshin in this quest. I've said it, and I'm going to keep saying it. And here we find him on a mountaintop. Again, so cliche. Samurai on a frozen mountaintop, just standing against the wind. But yet it just fits somehow. It fits so well in my mind. I can't help but wonder what you guys think of it. And so here we're going to get to the final decision for this quest, and I can't help but wonder where this choice will come into play, and moreover, the War Within, I think, that we see here, what it means for Warframe, for the Tenno moving forward. I think if Umbra actually is within the next major quest, or even one or two major quests from now, or two major quests from now, I guess I really should just say, then the question for me is that where we finally start to identify the Warframes as individuals? I think that the second dream kind of finally gave us answers about things, but didn't really identify the Tenno as individuals. Now we have. And I can't wait to do that with my PS4 account. Now I'm going to have a whole nother playthrough on this channel with my PS4 account, with all decked out, different operator suit, different, all kinds of equipment that I just love, and accoutrements and visuals. And yeah, here it is. Here is the real big question: was it all leading to this? The War Within, was it all leading to that moment right there? And we're actually going to be asking about the War Within moving forward, as opposed to having any conclusive point here. I think the conclusive point was with Teshin, and it was very cool, and I feel more allied with him than I have before. And yeah, I don't think that this was instead as conclusive as the second dream, and just really comes down to posing more questions than answers. And I'm okay with that, because I think we have a lot more Warframe in front of us. So, final things here to wrap up on. Good message, again, from Teshin, really connecting you with that character. DE, if you watch this, couple of spelling errors to look in on. Definitely worth correcting, making it a more cohesive read, so that those who enjoy literary expression can really sink into it, as opposed to being a bit disconnected through those spelling errors. Broken Scepter. Can't help but wonder if there's not a broken scepter, like there was a broken war and a not broken war. Interesting. I'll again, if I make a video about other War Within elements, which I think I'm going to do, we're going to talk about that. The Orvius blueprint. This is a weapon that is, this is Teshin's weapon. It's under the melee section. I'm going to pause right there on this Riven mod. And yeah, you can find it under your Teshin weapons, and there are 2 pieces that have to be collected for it, and it allows you to supposedly control enemies, as Teshin did. Interesting. The Riven mod. What the fuck? Sounds like something out of Diablo. My Riven mod has the stipulation of going to a survival with level 30 enemies or higher and not killing anyone, surviving and extracting. Sounds very familiar because there was that alert near Tennokan. Perhaps that was a test or a proving ground or data gathering for DE to tune for such a mod. I don't know what it does. I'll be very curious to find out, honestly. I hear some of these are broken, and, you know, it's part of the process, guys. So I said that earlier, I'm probably going to go find out after this. It's a rank 8 mod. I don't know if I've ever seen a rank 8 mod. I hope it is because it's within the mods, I think that it just stands a chance to be a more in-depth system, because the mods already work, and the adding to the mod system, adding a system to the mod system seems to make more sense in my mind. Not a big fan of the sigil. I think sigils only being on the chest, stomach, back. I think being able to put them, like, even on the forearm, legs, would be pretty cool. I'm just not the biggest fan of sigils these days, or not too much anyway. So, yeah, this has been it, guys. I want to say thank you, DE. I really do. I liked this quest a lot. Do I think it was as good as the War Within, or I'm sorry, the Second Dream? No, but I don't think you want to try to imitate that. I think it was good in its own right, and this is great in its own right as well. And I'm very happy with it, and I'm also happy with this kind of excitement for the rest of the update, whereas with the Second Dream, I kind of knew what we were getting, and it was kind of just like, all right, you know, there's some things that just really need refinement here, and happy to have them, but at the same time, it wasn't where I found my excitement. Whereas with this, great quest, and now I'm excited for a lot of the elements that were also added or potentially added with the War Within. Thank you for watching. If you like, do the thing. And I will be back with more of my own channel's content, the 88th Armory, where we talk about weapons that aren't the most popular and can be added to the arsenal potentially to add more variety to our gameplay, and State of the Frame, which I will be tweaking its formula a bit for the latter half of its season, where I talk about kind of things that are simply going on within the game, like the next Prime Valkyrie. Let's go!